Welcome everyone to another workshop of Big Book Awakening. Thank you for being here. I'm very happy to have you all of you here today. Today we're going to be going through the second part of Bill's story. We had a wonderful experience in my homework group. I don't know about you guys, but this chapter it's very revealing for me, and I hope it's as revealing for you. The homework for this week was to underline anything that you're not willing to do to recover. Anything that you see there that jumped at you, that you are unwilling or you don't understand what the story means. That's what the homework was. We're going to be reading about the recovery of Bill. Let's remember that there was no solution back then. This guy came with the solution. This guy used to participate in the Oxford groups. If you guys know what the Oxford groups are, it's a wonderful thing to know. I invite all of you guys to go to the internet and look for it and see what it is that the Oxford groups stands for. One of the things that jumped at me about the Oxford groups is that these people believe they were a Christian fellowship, and these people believe that if they let their lives in the Holy Spirit's hands, the Holy Spirit will be leading them on everything they do every day. So it's a very spiritual, very good group. I would love you to go and see what the four absolutes are of the Oxford group. So anyhow, let me do the set aside prayer and and we'll start reading. It says, God, please help me set aside everything I think I know for an open mind and a new experience. Help me see the truth about Bill's recovery in the second part of his story. Amen. Okay, so if you guys can open your books on page 9. Let's start reading from there. Can you add me to the main group, please? Denise M. Sure, Denise, if you give me your phone number later on, I will. It'll be my pleasure. So I'm going to be reading and I'm going to be stopping in whatever I think is relevant. And if there's any questions, please raise your hand and we'll get to them. Okay? Okay, so here we go. And it says, the door opened and he stood right there, fresh-skinned and glowing. There was something about his eyes. He was inexplicably different. What had happened? I pushed the drink across the table. He refused it. Disappointed but curious, I wondered what had got into the fellow. He wasn't himself. So here I'm asking you a question. What is it that you're doing here in BBA? What is it about BBA that truly attracted you? Was somebody that you met that his eyes were glowing, that you believed that his life was better, that you want something that people have in this fellowship? I mean, what was it? This workshop is different than every other book study group that you have gone through because this is an experience for you to have through the pages of the big book. So today I'm asking you, what are you doing in BBA? Why do you think BBA is going to be wonderful for your life? So for all of you guys, I'm pretty sure it's different, but I mean, what I gotten from BBA was that light that I saw in everybody's eyes. Somebody was saying that Vinny just shared a little bit ago. When I heard him share and when I saw him, he was going through a really tough time in his life, and he was absolutely glowing, man, even though he wasn't feeling that well. So I ask you, what is it that you saw in us? What did you see in this fellowship that attracted you to BBA? Then it continues. It says, "Come, what's all this about?" I queried. He looked straight at me, simply but smilingly, and he said, "I've got religion." What would have happened if somebody in AA would have told you that this was religious? I would have been long gone, man. Then it says, I was aghast. So that was it. Last summer, an alcoholic crackpot. Now I suspected a little cracked about religion. He had that starry-eyed look. Yes, the old boy was on fire, all right. But bless his heart, let him rant. Besides, my gin will last longer than his preaching. But he did no ranting. In a matter-of-fact way, he told how 2 men had appeared in court, persuading the judge to suspend his commitment. They had told of a simple religious idea and a practical program of action. That was 2 months ago when the result was self-evident. It worked. He had come to pass his experience along to me if I cared to have it. I was shocked, but interested. Certainly, I was interested. I had to be, for I was hopeless. Remember when we first started the workshop, I told you that one of the sides of the circle and the triangle was service. This is the first time in the history of AA that a man went out in service. Bill, this guy had 2 months of sobriety. So if you're not taking any sponsees, if you're not taking people through the work, if he's not sponsoring anybody, if you're not servicing in AA, what's your excuse? And this is very important, like I said at the beginning. You don't need to have worked all the steps to become a sponsor, to become a guide, or just to become a friend. Service is crucial here. If you have done the work, if you have years of sobriety and you don't have any sponsees, and your life is not as good as it should be, guess why? So service in this book is going to be coming on over and over and over and over again. I'm doing 2 workshops this year, one in Spanish and one in English, because this is what saves my life. Is it a lot of work? Yes, it is. Is it a big commitment? Yes, it is. But there's nothing that I do in my life that gives me as much as giving these workshops. So I think this is worth mentioning. This guy had been sober for 2 months, and he was sharing the message to the founder of AA. Without that service, most likely AA won't be here. 2 months of sobriety. Number 1. And number 2, do you feel hopeless? And I want you to bring your experience to this moment. All of you guys that have years in sobriety, what's your current agnosticism? What's your current state of mind? What's your current unmanageability? Do you feel hopeless? Do you feel like something is missing in your recovery that you have tried to fix and you haven't been able to do that? Where are you at today? A lot of us come to these workshops because AA hasn't worked, because we had a connection with God a long time ago and then that connection was lost and we feel kind of hopeless. Is that you? Do you think that what we're going to be doing here is going to bring some hope to your life? Is this, in other words, is this the end of your rope? Are you willing to go to any lengths to get what we offer here in BBA? For the old timers, the set aside prayer. And what I'm telling you right now, it's really important because we think that we know everything. We've been in AA for so long. However, if you're here, there's a reason for that. I wish that today you can say to yourself, tell it to yourself, that in that area of your life, you're kind of hopeless. And that you're ready to do whatever it takes to get what we offer here. Just some food for thought. He talked for hours. Childhood memories rose before me. I could almost hear the sound of the preacher's voice as I sat on still Sundays, way over there on the hillside. There was the Prophet Temperance pledge I never signed. My grandfather's good nature, contempt of some church folk and their doing, its insistence that the spheres really had their music, but his denial of the preacher's right to tell him how he must listen. He's fearless as he spoke of these things just before he died. The recollection welled up from the past. They made me swallow hard. So what are your prejudices against spirituality, against religion, against God? The difference between agnosticism and atheism. An atheist don't believe that God exists. An agnostic, I believe that most of the world is an agnostic, and let me tell you why. Because all of us believe in God, but very few of us believe that there's a personal God. The things about you that walks with you, that is going to be able to heal you and do for you what you haven't been able to do your whole life. That's what Bill was resisting. He could think of a God that created everything and his grandfather. but he couldn't buy the idea that that God will take care of him. So where are you at with that? What kind of God do you have? What are your prejudices against religion or God or whatever it may be? These are important questions. These are really, really, really important questions. That wartime day in Old Winchester Cathedral came back again. I had always believed in a power greater than myself. I had often pondered these things. I was not an atheist. For people really are, for that few people really are, for that means blind faith in the strange proposition that this universe originated as a cipher and aimlessly rushed nowhere. My intellectual heroes, the chemists, the astronomers, even the evolutionists, suggested vast laws and forces at work. Despite contrary indications, I had little doubt that a mighty purpose and rhythm underlay it all. How could there be so much of precise and immutable law and no intelligence? I simply had to believe in the spirit of the universe, who knew neither time nor limitation, but that was as far as I had gone. So where are you with your belief? Where are you with your faith? Where are you with your God? If you're new at this and you have never established that connection, that's fine. The only thing that the program is going to demand from you is for you to be willing, just willing to believe that maybe, just maybe, there's a power out there that can heal your problem, your heart, your perception, your fear, your shame, everything that we carry. But for a lot of us, the old timers, how's your God? What does he do? What God is your God for you? Is he just a thought? Is he just the creator of the world and he's not personal to your life? Are you where Bill was? The God of Alcoholics Anonymous, the God that we are going to be introduced in this workshop, is a personal God. It's a God that is going to take care of all of your problems. All of your problems, not just the drinking and the drugging or the codependency and overeating. All of that. Do you believe that? Or you believe, like Bill, that he created the universe and everything that surrounds you, but that he's too busy to take care of himself? With ministers and the world's religions, I parted right there. When they talked of God personal to me, who was love, supernatural strength and direction, I became irritated and my mind snapped shut again. Such a theory. Are you there? You still fight that idea. You still carry resentments with the church, per se, or with the synagogue, or whatever your religion is. We don't claim any God in this workshop or in AA. Everybody's free to pick and choose whomever God you want. Actually, what I'm inviting you to do, all of you, and I would love all of you to do it, and I would love to hear it in my homework group. Everybody that is in my homework group, listen closely, because we're going to talk about this next time. I want you to write a paragraph of how you want your God to be. How do you want him to be? What powers do you want him to have? How close to you want him to be? I mean, what is it that you want? Nothing is too big for God. And I invite you to discuss it in your homework groups. If you can't do this, then write a paragraph why you can't. Why you believe there's no God. Or write a paragraph in the God that you believe. But do it, please write it down. To Christ I conceded the certainty of a great man, not too closely followed by those who claimed him. Isn't that the truth? His moral teachings most excellent. For myself, I have adopted those parts which seemed convenient and not too difficult. The rest I disregarded. So you see, this guy didn't believe in something that he didn't even give a shot at. He said that Christ was a great teacher, but he never allowed himself to live whatever Christ preaches in the Bible or in his story. We complain about the prejudice of the church, the intolerance of the church, or the intolerance of religions. How about your intolerance? How about your prejudice? You want them to be tolerant, but you're judgmental. Is that where you're at? If you're not there, that's fine. If you're aligned with Christ or whomever your God is, it's wonderful for you. But many of us are not. Many of us still doubt that the power of God is going to heal me. It's going to provide me with whatever I need to survive. Money, clothing, partnerships, love relationships, whatever it may be, everything. The wars which had been fought, the burnings and chicanery that religious dispute had facilitated, made me sick. I honestly doubted whether, on balance, the religions of mankind had done any good. Judging for what I had seen in Europe and since, the power of God in human affairs was negligible. The brotherhood of man, a grim jest. If there was a devil, he seemed the boss universal, and he certainly had me. Whatever is happening right now around the world, right now, this is really relevant. There's a lot of wars going on around the world. There's a lot of innocent people dying. There's a lot of hunger in many countries around the world. Here in the States, we're incredibly lucky. Here, it's really hard to go hungry for a day. In this country, there's opportunities you can work and you can achieve, but there's a lot of people in the world that are starving to death. The bare necessities they don't have. For many years in my life, I questioned that. I said, how can there be a God when there's children that are dying every day of hunger? Or he allows the wars? Or how about the story of Catholicism, man? How many people have died in the name of Christ? How many people have died in the name of Allah? Is that where you're at today? Is that how you judge the church? Is that how you judge God? Is that how you doubt him? It's fine. There's nothing wrong with it. What's wrong with it is that you lie to yourself and you say that that's not so if it's happening in your life. So be honest with yourself and say, well, this is where I'm at. This is where I'm stuck. And bring it up in your humble groups. Like I said, in the humble groups is where the healing happens. That's when the healing, it's truly happens, starts. So where are you at with your prejudice? Where are you at with your doubt? Judgment. But my friend sat before me and he made the point blank declaration that God had done for him what he could not do for himself. His human will had failed. Doctors had pronounced him incurable. Society was about to lock him up. Like myself, he had admitted complete defeat. Have you? Have you? How can God restore yourself to sanity if you don't give him your insanity first?
You made it up into the coop? Okay, very slowly.
Can you?
I have it already.
Can you please mute yourself? Thank you.
Yeah.
Let me mute myself. Okay. So, have you experienced what God has done in your life that you have been incapable of doing your whole life for yourself? Or you haven't had the chance and the privilege and the miracle happen in your life yet? Which one is it? But whatever it is, be honest with yourself. Has your human will failed? And not only with booze, with drugs, with food, with codependency, failed as long as it comes to living. Isn't your real problem is that you don't know how to live your life? Do you still think you have power? Do you still think you can white knuckle it? Do you still think you can manage? These are really important questions, man. Or have you failed? Not drinking or sobriety, at life. At life. How much help do you need? Because you have tried. You have tried for a long time. Doctors after him incurable, but okay, yeah. Incurable society was about to lock him up. Like myself, he had admitted complete defeat. Then he had in effect been raised from the death, suddenly taken from the scrap heap to a level of life better than the best he had ever known. Have you experienced that? That's for the old timers. Are you there yet? Have you ever experienced that in all your years of sobriety? And if you haven't, how much do you want to experience it? Isn't that's why you're here? Isn't that the main reason you're here in this workshop? So this work, this book, this fellowship can take you to a place where you've never been before. So you can finally turn off this thing. So you can finally understand the world. So you can finally feel sufficient or enough or adequate or lovable or accepted, whole. Isn't that what we're all looking for? Had this power originated in him? Obviously he was not. There had been no more power in him than there was in me at that minute. And this was none at all. How much power do you still think you have? That floored me. It began to look as though religious people were right after all. Here was something at work in a human heart which had done the impossible. My ideas about miracles were drastically revised right then. Never mind the musty past. Here sat a miracle directly across the kitchen table. He shouted great tidings. Wow. I saw that my friend was much more than inwardly reorganized. He was on a different footing. His roots grasped a new soil. Isn't that amazing? Isn't that what you want? How great would it be to have that easy button? Remember the easy button of Staples? That was easy. Or just a reset button. To hit it every time you just want to shut your brain off. How beautiful that would be. That can happen. But your roots have to be grasped in the new soil. Remember the psychic change that Dr. Selkirk talked about? Everything that you think you know until this point, most of it hasn't worked. Are you willing to try something new with an open mind, with a little bit less judgment, with enthusiasm? Despite the living example of my friend, there remained in me the vestiges of my old prejudice. The word God still aroused certain antipathy. When the thought was expressed that there might be a God personal to me, this feeling was intensified. I didn't like the idea I could go for such conception as creative intelligence, universal mind or spirit of nature, but I resisted the thought of a czar of the heavens. However loving his sway might be, I have since talked with scores of men who felt the same way. Where are you at today? When you hear Jesus, or when you hear God, or when you hear Allah, when you hear, do you cringe? Do you still resist it? Do you still have prejudice over it? My friend suggested that then seemed a novel idea. He said, Why don't you choose your own conception of God? Hence the homework that I just told you. I need you to write down, who do you want your God to be? Pick whatever you want. You see, the beautiful thing about Christ, and at the same time the horrible thing about Christ, is this. You have different groups of people telling you what Christ said. There's all kinds of churches, man. There's one message, but there's like 2,000 interpretations. So what I'm asking you is not to go back to religion. I'm asking you to you and him. What is it that you want your God to be? No interpretation is your God. It's your life. Bill describe it as creative intelligence, universal mind, or spirit of nature. How would you call it? Nature, the universe, Christ, Allah. That statement hit me hard. It melted the icy intellectual mountain in those shadows I had lived and shivered many years. I stood in the sunlight at last. It was only a matter of being willing to believe in a power greater than myself. This is Bill's second step. It's just a matter to believe that a power greater than myself that I don't understand, nor do I need to understand today, can save me, can change me, can restore me to sanity. Nothing more was required of me to take my beginning. I saw that growth could start from that point. Upon a foundation of complete willingness, I might build what I saw in my friend. Would I have it? Of course I would. So that's the second step. It's just complete willingness. How willing are you? You do some of the homeworks. You come to some of the meetings. You sometimes go to meetings. You know that service is important, but you don't serve. Thus was I convinced that God is concerned with us humans when we want him enough. At long last I saw, I felt, I believed. The scales of pride and prejudice fell from my eyes. A new world came into view. That's a spiritual experience, ain't it? The real significance of my experience in the cathedral burst upon me. For a brief moment I had needed and wanted God. There had been a humble willingness to have him with me, and he came. But soon the sense of his presence had been blotted out by worldly noises, mostly those within myself, and so it had been ever since. How blind had I been? How about that thing that talks to you every day? How about your mind? Can you slow that mind down? I mean, when you, let's say that you know God today in your life, you've been with us for a while. You know what a third step, sixth and seventh step is. When is it that you lose that connection with God? When you start listening to whom? To you, to your thoughts. I'm not gonna have enough. This guy doesn't love me enough. I was rejected. I'm ugly. My mother, a bad father. Whatever the clamors that you have in your brain, that's what blocks you and I from God. Can you experience that in your own experience? It's not Bill's experience, it's your experience. At the hospital, I was separated from alcohol for the last time. Treatment seemed wise, for I showed signs of delirium tremens. There I humbly offered myself to God. This is Bill's third step. As I then understood him, to live with me as he would, I placed myself unreservedly under his care and direction. I admitted for the first time that of myself, I was nothing, that without him, I was lost. What do you think? What are you without God? Are you ready to do that? Are you willing to do that? We're not in the third step, but the homework was, am I willing to do that? to abandon myself completely to the ghost, to that thing that I can't see, I can't touch, I can't feel, I can't smell. And these crazy people in AA is telling me that it exists and it's gonna fix not only my drinking problem, everything. Are you willing to give that up? I ruthlessly faced my sins. I became willing to have my newfound friend, God, take them away, root and branch. I have not had a drink since 12/11/1934. That's step 4, 5, 6, and 7. In this workshop, we'll do step 5, 6, and 7 the same day. My schoolmate visited me, and I fully acquainted him with my problems and deficiencies. We made a list of people I had hurt or towards who I felt resentment. I expressed my entire willingness to approach these individuals, admitting my wrong. Never was I to be critical of them. I was to write all such matters to the utmost of my ability. That's step 8 and step 9. Are you willing to do that? And this is a really big one. People drop off in the 8th and 9th step amazingly fast in this workshop and in life. The money that you owe that you need to pay back is not your money, it's theirs. You're just returning it. All the lies, all the cheating, all the gossiping, all those things that you have done to hurt people. Are you willing to go to them and make amends? This is step 10. I was to test my thinking by the new God consciousness within. Common sense will thus become uncommon sense. Anybody want to share what that means to you? No? Common sense would thus become uncommon sense. I was to sit quietly when in doubt, asking only for direction and strength to meet my problem as he would have me. Never was I to pray for myself except as my request bore on my usefulness to others. Then only might I expect to receive, but that would be in great measure. What's something that you and I have been taught since we were kids? Never surrender. Never give up. Keep on fighting. Be strong. Don't show emotion. Guard yourself. Isn't that how you were raised? Well, here that has to go to the wayside. In this program, we win when we lose. We have power when we surrender. We are certain of our future when we let our future go. Does that make any sense? Step 12. My friend promised when these things were done, I would enter upon a new relationship with my Creator, that I would have the elements of a way of living which answered all of my problems. Erica, you want to say something?
Sorry, I cut out there for a second. To your question of what is uncommon sense, wait, getting rid of uncommon sense.
Common sense would thus become uncommon sense.
Oh, yeah, I was just thinking like, I always used to try and think through things to force an outcome, and that never worked because God always had a slow outcome for me. And like, I've been praying for this one resolution for 5 years, and it just came to fruition like recently, and I just can't believe how it turned out because I stopped trying to force the issue and just just kept taking the next right action, and then all of a sudden I was somewhere I had never dreamed I'd be with it. So
good.
Uncommon sense is trying to stop forcing it and stop trying to think it through.
There you go. Thank you, Erica.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you. So that way of living which answered all of my problems. Who do you think that God can take care of all of your problems? All of them. I don't care what you're going through. Whatever you're going through. It's not just drinking, drugging, eating, or codepending. Everything. Believe in the power of God plus enough willingness, honesty, and humility to establish and maintain the new order of things were the essential requirements. So what's essential for you to have every day? Willingness, honesty, and humility. Simple but not easy. A price had to be paid. It meant destruction of self-centeredness. I must turn in all things to the Father of light, who presides over all of us. Do you cringe when you hear that? That means you have to let go completely, everything. If you think you're here because you're going to get to know yourself better, you're in the wrong workshop. We don't sell that here. They sell that with Tony Robbins and all those guys that sell you weeks for $5,000. Here, we don't sell that. Here, whatever you think it makes sense is going to start to not make sense at all. You're going to have an entire psychic change. But you have to get rid of your ideas. That's what self-centeredness means. You're going to have to get rid of your victim cape, that the world is all about you, that everybody has to act like you believe is right, that justice is what you believe justice is, the truth is what you believe truth is. Isn't that self-centered? The way that I see things is the only way things should be. I must turn in all things to the Father of light who presides over all of us. Are you willing to do that? Really do it. Have you ever really done it? Really, 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 really done it. Not just meditating in prayer while you're in the shower or before you go to work or when the sky is falling apart. Have you really, really, really for a minute unload everything you have carried and you carried every day to that which you can understand? And have you feel the peace behind that? The peace behind that, it's enormous, man. It's real. It's higher than any high that I have gotten from drugs and alcohol. And you know what the beautiful thing is? It's there always. It's always there. You just have to drop the control. You have to drop the controlling, the fixing, the judging, the not accepting. And peace abounds. It's there. That's the love of God. That's the grace of God. You know what it is you need to do to deserve the grace of God? Nothing. Breathe. That's it. But we're so eager, man. We want to change everything. Just like Rebecca said, I love it. I'm addicted to changing what? Everything. And maybe then God is going to listen to me. He's been sending you whatever he thinks is right for you, but you don't like it. Isn't that the problem? So it says, I must. It doesn't say I shall, I must. Turn in all things to the Father of light who presides all over us. Here come some promises. It says, these were revolutionary and drastic proposals. But the moment I fully accepted them, the effect was electric. There was a sense of victory, followed by such a peace and serenity as I had never known. There was utter confidence. I felt lifted up, as though the great clean wind of a mountain top blew through and through. God comes to most men gradually, but his impact on me was sudden and profound. This could be you. You just have to want it enough. Stop fighting. Stop trying to fix, to judge, to direct. We're going to read later on what the spiritual experience is. For many, the spiritual experience will come as sudden and as hard as it came for Bill. But for many of us, it comes slowly, little by little, piece by piece. What Rebecca had today wasn't a spiritual experience. And she's afraid she's going to lose it tomorrow. That's okay. You had one today. You want it to last always. Don't hold on to it. Let it go. And it will always come back. For a moment I was alarmed and called my friend the doctor to ask if I were still sane. He listened in wonder and I talked. As I talked. Finally he shook his head saying, "Something has happened to you I don't understand, but you had better hang on to it. Anything is better than the way you were." The good doctor now sees many men who had such experiences. He knows that they are real. Doctors don't understand this, man. Every time you go to the therapist, how it is that they want to fix you with cognitive psychology or with thanatology or with whateverology. And how many doctors truly get the power of God? Don't they want to be gods? Don't they want to heal you and direct you, cure you? Unfortunately for them, it's really hard to heal an alcoholic. Dr. Young said it. We need a spiritual experience to get rid of our problem. Nothing else will cut it. Now, doctors, when you go to their offices and you talk about God, they think you're crazy, man. And if your spiritual experience is strong enough, they probably think you're neurotic, man. You're having a breakdown or something. That's the common becoming uncommon. For us, that life, that dimension, it's real. Once you know it, once you taste it, once you live it, it's as real as the doctor sitting in front of you. While I lay in the hospital, the thought came that there were thousands of hopeless alcoholics who might be glad to have what had been so freely given me. Perhaps I could help some of them. They, in turn, might work with others. How many days had he been sober? 2 or 3 a week? He's thinking about service. Service is so important, guys. If you're not serving, please go out there and find somebody to service. There's people dying in AA, man, all over AA. There's a bunch of newcomers, man. You do have time. You do have what it needs and it takes, and you have it. It's just you have to learn to give it away. My friend had emphasized the absolute necessity of demonstrating these principles in all of my affairs, not just in AA, in all of my affairs. Particularly was it imperative to work with others as he had worked with me. Faith without works is dead. Whomever has read the Bible, that verse is in the Bible. What good is it for you to believe in God if you're terrified of living? How good is it for you to believe in the greatest God in the universe if you're not willing to love somebody in great need of love? How good is your God, man? That's a chump. And to believe in a man that keeps me in my couch, scared shitless, why do I need that God for, man? If you don't put your faith to the test, to work, and go out there and live your life, you'll never know the power of God. Faith is the result of a risk. Faith is the result of an action. It's not before the action. You can pray all you want. If you don't go out there and prove it to the test, you will never believe in God 100%. Faith without works is dead. So I don't care how many rosaries you pray. If you don't go out there and practice your faith, it's good for nothing. My friend had emphasized the absolute, okay, I get that. And how appalling true for the alcoholic. For if an alcoholic failed to perfect and enlarge his spiritual life through work, and self-sacrifice for others, he could not survive the certain price and low spots ahead. Are you willing to do that? You see, it doesn't say go to meetings, talk to my sponsor, do BBA workshops, pray all day long, go to church, give your life to Christ. It says work with others. Religion is very important, but AA is as important. If he did not work, he would surely drink again, and if he drank, he would surely die. Then faith would be dead indeed. With us, it's just like that. So go out and serve. Live, love, appreciate. My wife and I abandoned ourselves with enthusiasm to the idea of helping other alcoholics to a solution of their problems. Not their drinking problems, their problems. It was fortunate for my old business associates to remain skeptical for a year and a half, during which I found little work. I was not too well at the time and was plagued by waves of self-pity and resentment. This sometimes nearly drove me back to drink, but I soon found that when all other measures failed, work with another alcoholic will save the day. When you're wallowing in self-pity, when you're wallowing in depression, in anxiety, in overthinking, what do? You see, the funny thing is that we come to AA, we come to these workshops, and we want our humanity to be taken away from us. We don't want to feel. We don't like to feel, man. We want to be like Dr. Spock. Remember that guy? How admired was he? Because he was so brains, objectivity. And man, I want to be like Dr. Spock. That's never going to happen. You're going to feel fear. You're going to be frustrated. You're going to doubt. You're going to fall in love. You're going to get your heart broken. Probably 48 hours after you're dead, you're going to stop experiencing those feelings, but not before then. Your humanity will never go away. Many times I have gone to my old hospital in despair. On talking to a man there, I would be amazingly lifted up and set on my feet. It is a design for living that works in rough going. So if you're sad, go out and serve. The first workshop I did in English was here in San Diego. I had 1 year of sobriety. Michael K, maybe a lot of you guys know who Michael K was, or is, I'm sorry. Michael K, he told me, Oliver, I prayed and yesterday I believe that you need to do a workshop. I said, Mike, are you out of your mind, man? I want to die. I think about suicide every day. What the hell am I going to give all these people, man? I can barely walk. So I said, well, think about it and come back with an answer. And I did, and I prayed, and I said, okay, let's go. I remember going to Denny's to do my homework groups because it was in person. This internet thing back then, it wasn't that popular. Every time I went into Denny's, I thought I wanted to die, man. I didn't want to live anymore, man. I was tired of life. I had done this gig, man. I have done this deal. I was done. I proved myself powerless. I didn't want to come back. I just wanted to die. I'm not exaggerating. When I got out of that meeting, man, I wanted to live again. I could feel the power of God. Every Wednesday that I did the workshop, I went home grateful. And the next day, I wanted to die again. And then, when I wanted to die again, I went out and served again. And that went on for like 2 years. So what I'm trying to tell you is that life is difficult. Service is not a one-time deal. Depression is real, sadness is real, fear is real, and you're going to keep on feeling it. But the most effective way for that thing to go away is to serve. How? Pour your heart to others. Love others. Give them the best. All those guys, I used to tell them, guys, I think about suicide a lot. You know how many hands were raised to say, me too? I wanted to take my life since, I don't know how long ago. I tried it. And I failed. I made people feel comfortable in their own skin. Because I told them that I was going through the same thing and I was supposed to be the teacher, man. That service. I had a year in sobriety. And I took 35 people through this work that I still hold dear to my heart. So I invite you to do the same thing. Serve in any capacity you feel you can. But take a risk. Do what scares you. And service. And if you want to die like I did, if you're wallowing in self-pity, serve even harder. Don't stay home. That only makes it worse. Okay. Okay. We commenced to make many fast friends, and fellowship has grown up among us, of which it is a wonderful thing to feel a part of. The joy of living we really have, even under pressure and difficulty. The joy of living we really have, even under pressure and difficulty. I have seen hundreds of families set their feet in the path that really goes somewhere. I've seen the most impossible domestic situations righted, feuds and bitterness of all sorts wiped out. I have seen men come out of asylums and resume a vital place in the lives of their families and communities. Business and professional men have regained their standing. There's scarcely any form of trouble and misery which has not been overcome amongst us. Isn't those promises? Isn't that beautiful? Wherever you're at, it's going to get better. In one Western city and its environs, there are 100 of us and our families. We meet frequently so that the newcomer may find the fellowship they seek. Why do you go to AA to do? When you go to meetings, what do you go there for? Do you go there to take something or to give something? Because if every time you go to AA, you go there to take, that's why you're not taking anything. AA and the meetings were built so you can give a place for the newcomer to arrive. So how do you add in the meetings that you go? I had a sponsor, a very old sponsor, the first time around when I stopped drinking when I was 22 years old. I used to be in the Alana Club every day, all day long, reading the book, going to meetings, and I felt horrible, man, every time I came out of a meeting. And I went to Bob and I said, Bob, this thing doesn't work. Why? Because I'm reading the book. You're my sponsor, and I go to meetings, and every time I come out of a meeting, I feel emptier than how I felt when I came in. He said, the problem, Oliver, is that every time you go to a meeting, you go there to take. The minute you start giving your experience, your heart, the miracle will happen. And guess what? It did. So you're afraid of telling AA or your friends or your fellowship who you truly are? You're missing out. Are you creating an image around AA of this altogether person that never suffers and knows the book in and out and can quote and shit like that? You're missing out. You haven't experienced the miracle of AA. Tell them the truth. If you feel bad, tell them. If you feel good, tell them. If you're depressed, tell them. But tell them also what it is that you're doing to get out of it. Live in dissolution. At these informal gatherings, one may often see from 50 to 200 people. We are growing in numbers and power. An alcoholic in his cups is an unlovable creature. Our struggles with them are variously strenuous, comic and tragic. One poor chap committed suicide in my house. He could not or would not see our way of life. So what's the problem if you are like me and you have tried everything else that's out there? What's the danger of not getting this way of life if you have tried everything else? This disease kills. The rate of suicide amongst the addiction and alcoholism community is really high. This is no game. I mean, I hope you can take this as serious as you take anything else in your life. It's a life and death situation. How honest do you have to be with yourself, and how thorough do you need to be in walking your steps? Not like working the steps from your heart. Have an experience with this. This happens. I have lost sponsees. Last year I lost a few. And I'm pretty sure you have heard in AA more than once that people take their own lives. Either willingly or they got drunk and they crashed. Something happened, but they're not with us anymore. That could be you. We worry so much about life when life is truly precious. It's a gift that we are given every day, every morning. We bitch and complain and moan because life hasn't been fair with us, because we're self-centered. The switch can be turned off tomorrow, like it is for many people. So that the remaining time that you still have in this earth, which I don't know how long it is, and it doesn't matter with your age, what you want to make out of it, something out of it. Don't you want to bring heaven to earth? Why do you have to wait to die to go to heaven? Why don't you bring it down here? Sometimes I live there, and sometimes I live in hell as well. I will be never able to tell anybody that my life is perfect. It has never been perfect. And I suffer and I struggle and I doubt and I self-pity and I do all those things. I'm a human being. Now I stay there way shorter, and I know how not to get there, because once I let this thing think, I'm screwed. So now I know that when this thing starts thinking, I have to shut it off. If not, it was gonna take over, man. It kicks my ass every time, man. No doubt. I let this thing go with what it thinks is a good idea, and I'm done. There is, however, a vast amount of fun about it all. I suppose some would be shocked at our seeming worldliness and levity. But just underneath there is a deadly earnestness. Fate has to work 24 hours a day in and through us, or we perish. Most of us feel we need look no further for utopia. We have it within us, with us right here and now. Each day, my friends, simple talk in our kitchen multiplies itself into the widening circle of peace on earth, at goodwill to men. Bill W., co-founder of AA, died January 24th of 1971, 2 years after I was born. So in short, and to conclude, are you willing to do what Bill did? Do you have the same prejudices that Bill had? Do you have a problem with the personal God? Do you believe that God can come to your heart and heal all of it? What is a miracle if it's not the change in your perception? Isn't that the miracle we're all looking for? Isn't that a miracle? You don't need to heal a leper, or you don't need to heal a cancerous person, just to change your perception. Whatever scared you, now it doesn't faze you anymore. You can feel love, you can feel empathy. All those are promises of this walk, but are you willing to do what it takes to get there? Are you tired of controlling your life and failed every time you do? Because if you're here, at least one thing you have failed in your life on. The most important thing. That's living in peace. With that, I pass. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you so much for your attention, your grace. I will see you next week.